All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see sound. Now, I need to visit with you very briefly, just again, some housekeeping things. Last week, of course, we had that very bad weather. And as usual, things can either come in twos or threes. Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock, I have to go and observe a colleague in his class. This is one of our, on all of us, faculty, you have periodic times when we come, people have folks come in and review our classes. So I can't be here with you at 2 o'clock. I can't be with you at 2 o'clock and there as well, obviously. So I'm doing a pre-recorded session, and this is what you'll see. So we won't meet physically on or virtually on Monday. I'll just simply have this pre-recorded screencast for you, and I'll let you know. I'll send you an email. You should have received an email from me, and you'll see this also in the announcements. Well, we're continuing on our march through the Excel cases, and you'll recall that we did Karma Digital, where we looked at using the regression analysis tool in Excel, and we looked at that idea of correlation, and we looked at the idea of using a linear trend and building that line to look at how much of two variables relate, and also to make a prediction along the line. We did all of that in the Karma Digital case. Now, and that was Karma Digital was case number 9, okay? Now, in case number 10, this is Excel case number 10, over on page 88 in the Solvent 6.0 textbook, we're looking at Blue Sky Computer Services, okay? And this is, we're going to develop, okay, an accounts receivable system, and we're going to be doing some lookup functions and data functions. So it'll be a little bit of a different tag, than what we've worked with. Okay, so we're gonna go into that now. I have some resources for you. First of all, that I want to that I think always want you to look at these. Now, look, I don't give you quizzes over this stuff, okay? But I do provide you with additional resources that allow you to enhance what's there in your textbook, okay? And often well, almost always I have something that's related in one way to one of the cases that we'll be working on. And so, and this is one, for example, back, this is one I didn't show you when we covered case number 10, but this is an admission trends scattergram. Let's go over there for a sec. That's what that looks like. It's going to take us there, I hope. Okay, and this talks about your chances to select a college. Okay. Yeah. And I don't know if that's going to be all that good for us. Anyway, I want to show you some of the resources I've got here as regards lookup tables and some of those functions. We're going to be using some of the database functions in Excel, as well as we would always use the computational tools. And I want to pop down here and I want to show you a couple of things. This case deals with, okay, accounts receivable. And we have a company that's going to look at people that's going to evaluate its accounts receivables. Okay, and we're gonna try to categorize them and find out how much they owe us, and then we can do some thinking about where we are. Now, I want to share some things with you before we do the case. And I probably am going to show you a finished product because I think it will probably be a little bit easier to do that. But I want to show you some things that I've got out there for you. And here's a nice link, okay, that talks about how accounts receivable lose value over time. Okay, Now, remember when we studied the accounting ratios, and we said there was a ratio called the quick ratio, also known as the acid test ratio, also known as the banker's ratio, and that's where we take current assets minus inventory and divide that by current liabilities. And we do that because we don't assume that we can get too much out of inventory. Okay, now let's talk about the term accounts receivable. You may have heard it, you may not. Okay, I just don't know, but you will. An accounts receivable is when you sell something to somebody, okay, on time, or and so they order it, you send it, and then they pay you at some date. Okay. Now, obviously, there are going to be situations where I sell something to a customer and the customer doesn't pay me immediately or pay me within the time period they said. And at that point, I don't have a customer, I have a problem. Okay. And one of the issues that we run into is a thing called the aging of receivables. And we know this: the longer somebody owes us money, the less that money is worth because of the time value of money. If you have $1 today in 2018 and the inflation rate is 3% next in 2019, then the dollar that you have today will buy you 97 cents worth of goods and services. Money loses value over time, okay? And it's a time value, a time value of money problem. And it's also known as the discount rate is what we talk about, and you know this, that stuff that you bought, 4 or 5 years ago costs a lot more. It costs more today than it did then, okay? People, and also, everybody expects to have their income increased, and when they do, that that lowers the purchasing power that the employer has. Okay, I can remember one day when I was your age, when I thought if I could get to where if I could just get to where I made $45,000 or $50,000 a year, I'd be rich. And today, $45,000 a year is, if I'm not mistaken, the median income, just the median income, the middle income of people in the United States. It ain't nothing, okay? And I remember one day, I remember as a young person thinking, boy, if I could only be a millionaire. And it used to be a big deal to be a millionaire, but there are a lot of people, especially those who have a home on either coast who are deep in equity, who are worth $1 million, but feel like they're maybe at best living a middle-class lifestyle. So money loses value. So when we sell something to somebody on credit, okay, and they don't pay us back, we have a problem on our hands. And it also means that we may not be able to pay people we borrowed money from, our suppliers, to create the material, whatever it is we made for your sin. So now you can see how it becomes this unvirtuous chain of events that goes backwards. Okay, so we know that receivables lose value over time. Okay, and you can see, and there's and that's from the Professional Recovery Personnel Incorporated. They are a collection firm. Okay. Now I worked both sides of debt. I worked for a company called American Finasco, started by a man who's a Christian. Okay, and they're still operating. They're out of Houston, and what they do is they find companies that are in trouble and then negotiate their debt for them. You see stuff advertising all the time for people to say, oh, if you owe the IRS money, we'll negotiate your debt. Well, the truth is, you're going to pay them a fee to save you money, okay? And then you'll see people you'll see people on there who say, oh, if you have student debt, we can fix that, etc. So, and it's been a long time since I worked with American Financial, but I would find people who owe money. Okay, I'd look through the court records and I'd find people who'd been sued or had a judgment taken against them, and I'd contact them, and and if they would sign on with us, okay, we had an 800 number back in Houston, and we tell them, give this number to the creditor, stop talking to them, get unstressed, get your focus on your business, and let us work out a deal. Okay, and I know we saved many, many companies, primarily small, medium-sized businesses. Okay, and one of the issues that came up over and over was that here's the story right here. We've had a long-time customer. Okay, this is what my debtor clients would tell me. I had this long-time customer, and we always, we had a high level of sales, and they had this big order, and so we had to go borrow some money or buy on credit from our vendors. Okay, and then my customer didn't pay me, and now I've got a problem. And if I can't pay my creditor, I'm in the middle. Okay. Now, so it's important to understand about why instead that receivables get worth less and less because of the time value of money. Okay. And you can see here's a chart that shows you how much they go down. So if somebody owes you money for 90 to 120 days, in terms of a receivable, it can the decrease can range anywhere between 15 to 50%. Okay, so it's some food for thought. Now, I'm going to go back here for just a sec. All right, and we'll go back up in here to these modules. All right, and I have another site here I have another resource here I want you to look at. And we got that. We took a look at that one. Here's one, the bad debt collectability chart. Now this is a good one. Okay. Okay, yeah, RGL Associates. Let's go over there. And it's giving us not found. Okay, and what they're going to tell you, is that the more somebody owes you, there's a problem. So I'm going to get off that and go back here for just a second off the bad debt collectability chart. And let's look at this one, the additional sales needed to recapture bad debt. And I'll pop up here for a minute. And hang on here just a second, I'll find it. This talks about, well, here it is, additional sales to cover bad debt. You see, if somebody doesn't pay you, all right, you've got to you've got to pay. So we can look at here and look at the home section here, okay, and they talk and they have a resource over here, okay. And this shows you additional sales to cover bad debt. So what they basically say, and they're talking about that, the write-off times the net profit divided by the net profit is the additional sales. So they say, for example, here, if you have $2,500 in bad debt that you write off, and you would have made 3% profit, you now have to sell 83,000 more. You have to generate 83,000 more in additional sales to cover that bad debt. That's astounding. Okay, because you counted on getting that 3% profit. Okay, well, I think that gets us, helps us put this in perspective. And let me say this: I also spent a time working the other side of the aisle. Okay, and what that means is I worked for a firm that collected bad debts. Okay, and the secret of their secret sauce was they didn't mess around with calling people or sending them letters. Okay, they had an attorney who immediately took the case and said, you have 14 days to begin to settle up with us or get a plan in place, or we're going to take you to court. Okay, and then also we also sold credit services. We sold Experian credit services, so I helped them with that. Okay, so we've got an interesting little case here. Again, this is case 10, Blue Sky Computer Services. All right, and they're wanting to organize their receivables. And of course, at the first there on page 88, we learn about Blue Sky. Okay, and then they want us a way to categorize people in the following categories: current, 31, which is 30 days or less in terms of how long you've owed the money, you're considered current. Then 31 to 60 days, 61 to 90 days, over 90 days, and then 100, and that gives you the total, and then over 90. All right, and so we're going to look at and we're also going to try to use the sum, the equal if sum. So we'll play around with this. We're going to go over here to the Solve It 6.0 files. Okay. The student files, and we don't want to download this. All right. And I want to look for Blue Sky, and I'm going to open it up. Okay. And this is the skeleton file. And as usual, what I want to do is I come here and make it look a little nice. And I want to save this. I'm going to save it as, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'm just going to put Harmon XLSX case 10. Okay? And I'm going to save it. Now let's take a look for a moment at what we've got. First of all, click on cell. I'm going to click on cell E11 and click copy, then format painter, and paint that format. And I'm doing the same thing here. So it's uniform. Okay. Now what I have here is a set of account numbers, and then the name of the customer, then the invoice amount. Okay. That's where they ordered the stuff from us. Here we have the date of the invoice, and then the amount, and then how long it's been outstanding, and then we're going to categorize them. Okay. Let's start with the days outstanding. Okay, and for the days outstanding, I'm going to pretend, and this is E4. Let me stop for a minute and reinforce again. I apologize. Here's the title of the spreadsheet. Here's the documentation right here. And then, of course, we have the computation and the input. Okay, and this is their account receivable database and aging report. Come over here to cell E9, and it says enter today's date. All right, we're going to use a function called the now function. So I'm going to put equal NOW parenthesis now. All right, now I'm going to do this because it's going to look ridiculous. I'm going to put, instead of that, I'm going to put this date. I'm going to put 7/15/2008. And that'll be a little bit better. Okay. Now I want you to notice something, and this is something important to understand. When I'm working with Excel, I really have two places where things are going on for any given cell. I have the cell itself, like for example E9, which is displaying, and then I have the formula. Now, because if I want to, I can treat that date like a number. So look up here under numbers, and we're going to convert it to a number. Okay, and it's going to say 39/6/44. Okay, and it said, oh, so I can take this date and subtract the invoice date and get the days it's been outstanding. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put my cursor right here on cell F12. Okay. I'll put a $, and I'm going to put I'm going to enter that figure. Well, let's just do this. This is 7/15/2008. I may not even have to convert it to a figure. Well, it converted itself to a figure. Okay. I'll go back up here and make it a custom. A short date. There it is. And I'm going to name this. I'm going to go over here to the formulas, and I'm going to define a name. And I'm going to call it start date. Let's see. Let's call it base, BASE _ date, because it's the base date we're working from. And there we go. Okay. Now, this is going to equal, and then I'll use a formula, base date, all right, minus, and I'm going to come right over here to D12, which is the date, the first date. I'm going to put a $sign in front of it. Okay, and click enter. And don't worry about that. We're going to fix that. We're going to scroll all the way down here. Okay, and then we're going to take column F, and we're going to convert them to, we're going to click home, and we're going to come up here and we're going to put them into a number. And then we're going to decrease the decimals, and voila, we have the number of days outstanding. Now, just to make it look nice, I'm going to put them in the middle. Okay, so for example, Axle Hardware, all right, has owed us money for 120 days. All right. Critter Care has one invoice out to us for 147. Critter Care has another one out to us for 78. And these are not customers. These are people who, these are not customers. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice, because you may encounter this type of situation someday. The company or person who owes you, if they stay in communication with you and if they're making an effort, okay, it's up to you to judge whether you do something with them. But if you have somebody that owes your business money or whatever, and they don't communicate with you and they don't make any effort, that's probably the point in time where you need to turn it over to a collection agency or to a law firm that collects debt, and say, well, I may not get all my money. let me ask you, which is greater, 100% of nothing or 50% of something? You do the math and you tell me. Okay, so you may want to. Now, there are some companies out there, and I'll tell you about them. They're called factors, F-A-C-T-O-R. And here's what they do. They tell small business owners, look, you've got these people on your books that owe you money and they haven't paid you. I will take that off your hands for so much on a dollar. And then how I make my money is I go out and I collect from them, because that's what I do. And a lot of business owners will do that. And people who are factors take no prisoners. They will, they will sue somebody. I'll just give you real quickly the progression of how this can work. They sue a company, and then they get a judgment. And then if the company doesn't respond, or they forfeit on a payment plan, that business owner can execute on that judgment. In other words, they take the county sheriff with them out, and they shut you down, and they take your stuff and sell it at auction. So, business debt's nothing to be played with. It's serious business, okay? And so, because as we saw, how much it diminishes the value. But think about it when we talked about the profitability. Somebody owes you $25,000 of bad debt at 3%. Okay, and I'll just do it again just to show you. I've got $25,000. Okay, and that's divided by my profit margin, which would have been 0.03, and there you are. I'll put the equal sign in it. $83,000. If your profit is even higher than that, you're in trouble. And now I put 25,000 there. So, well, if somebody owes you $25,000, okay, and you would have made 3% profit, there you go. Now I'm going to show you the example there of $2,500, and that's where we were at over there at $83,000. That means you have to sell $83,000 more in goods, in sales, in order to recapture the money you lost. Okay. All right, so we've computed the days outstanding, and we know that the longer the debt goes, the more aging it gets. Okay, debt's not like fine wine. Fine wine gets better as it gets older. Debt gets nastier as it gets older, and eventually becomes uncollectible. And if it's uncollectible, you write it off. Okay, now they want us to create to do some work with these these categories. They want us to categorize these. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create a little table. Okay, and so I'm going to put category. Okay. Okay, and then we'll put a total over here. I'm going to kind of wing this. It's been a little bit of time since I messed with this. And so I'm going to have current. I know what I'm going to do here. Hang on. I put the age in days, and then I'm going to put the category. Okay. And I'm going to have 1, and that would be current. and then I'm going to put 31 current. Okay, and I'm going to put current, and then I'm put at 31, and then 31 to 60 days. Okay, I'm building a lookup table here, and then 61. Okay, and that's 61 to 90 days. Okay, and then I'm going to put 91. Okay, and that's 91 to well, that's over 90 days. Okay, and I'm going to decrease the decimals there. Okay, and I'm going to straighten those out. Let's put them in it. I don't know why I'm getting that weirdness. And I should. I'm going to copy format painter. There we go. That did it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put all borders around these. And then I'm going to bold it up. And I'm going to enhance its size a little bit up to 14. Okay. Now remember, as I do these screencasts, if you see something you have a question about, you can either attend a virtual office hours and ask me, or if you want, if you see the screencast, then you can say, okay, Dr. Harmon, the screencast for so-and-so date, at 2 minutes, 46 seconds, you did something I didn't understand. Well, okay, then I can help you, because I can go back and look at it myself and try to respond to it, okay? So we've got the age, and I'm going to put the age of receivables, I'm going to put that right here. Right, the age of the receivables. And so I'll squinch that out a little bit. And that's in days. And we've got the category. Now I'm going to go ahead and up here at the top, I'm going to put a nice ribbon on it. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom there. So it looks nice. Okay? Now, I'm going to try to do a little bit of work here, and I'm going to try to do a VLOOKUP. Okay? And let's look at this, and do this. And we're going to do this equal VLOOKUP. So equal. And let's look at the equal VLOOKUP. And let's look at the dialog box. Okay, look up the value. Okay, and it's going to be here, F12. The table array, and that's going to be over here. Okay, those 4 cells. And the column index number is going to be 2. Okay, and I'll click OK. Now, before I do this on the lookup value, I'm going to go ahead and right there in that F, I'm going to put a $sign in front of it so I can drag and drop. And on the table array, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I know those are all. Well, it's going to handle it as an absolute reference. So let's look at this for a minute. We're going to do a VLOOKUP, which means you're going to do a vertical lookup. The lookup the value, and that in this case is going to be F12. Okay, and the table array is going to be is going to be I4 over to J7, this area, and then the column number is 2. And it says over 90 days. Boom. And now we're just going to carry this all the way on down. Okay? And I don't know when I'm getting that. Well, let's just erase this and start over. See what we got going on here. Okay. This is going to equal VLOOKUP. Okay. And then the parenthesis. All right. And the lookup value, okay, is going to be the days outstanding. Okay. And then the table array, and that's going to be our lookup table. And I always forget if I need to do the whole table or just the numbers. No, I don't want to do that. I just want that, just the table, just the values inside there themselves. And the column index number will be 2. Okay. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put F4. I'm going to put a $sign in front of it. And here I'm going to write, I'm going to go ahead and make those absolute cell references. Now, I'm at that $sign I4 to $sign J $sign 6. So I've got I4 to J6. All right. And the column number index is 2. All right. And let's see, I've got something that's not right here. So let's click this, and this is 61 to 90 days. So that's not right. So let's go back in here and look at our VLOOKUP. We're looking at F12, which is 120. The table array is I4. We'll just do this. Sometimes it gets a little persnickety. Okay. Yeah. And then I want the column index number is 2. There we go. And it says over 90 days. Now I should be able here to go ahead and just bring this on down. So let's do that and see what happens to us. And that's not working for us. If you look at it. Yeah, we're going to have to make those. That's why it's giving us that funky stuff. So let's try it again. And so we're going to insert the function. This is just something you run into sometimes with these. The VLOOKUP. Okay, and we'll go to the dialog And then we'll go to the dialog box, and the lookup value will be F12. The table array, all right, and the column index number is 2. Now, I've got I4 to J7. That was my problem. Okay, so let's do this. $I, $4, $J, $7, and then column 2. And now let's see if this will work for us. Okay, beautiful. Let me show you something here that I had to do, folks. And I apologize about that, but you know, it's just one of those things. Here's what I did. I went ahead and I put a $sign in front of F12, okay? And then I'll just cancel this here for a minute. I'll show you here so you can see what it did. I had the F12, okay? Now, again, I could put I probably would want to put the $sign in front of the column so that it knows I'm going down the column, okay? But it probably, since it's invoking the VLOOKUP, it's not going to do that. But the table array, I have to use absolute cell referencing, okay? Or name it so that it will work. And then I get the column number, and boom, there we are. Okay, and we can check this to see, yeah. Okay, so we've got that first thing done. We've got and I apologize, but yeah, sometimes it happens. And again, would it work with the I've got F12, would it work with the $sign in front of the F? You know, but the key was to make sure that I had the table array in there. Okay. Now I'm going to experiment for just a minute since we're kind of learning this. I'm going to get rid of all that, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my cursor and put it on here on I4, and I'm going to get these, pardon me, I4 over to J7, and I'm going to click Form. You say, are you going to name this? And I'm going to define the name. The age of receivable days. Instead of that, I'm going to call it receivables underscore category. And let's see if that'll work for me. Okay. Now I'm going to use the VLOOKUP. So I put equal, and then I'm going to VLOOKUP, and then put the parenthesis, and then I'd use the dialog box, and the lookup value will be $F12, okay, and the table array, okay, and I'm going to use a formula, receivables category, and we're just going to see if this is going to work for us. And I'm going to put the column index number, and looks like it may work. And then let's drag and drop it down. Beautiful. So what I can do here is go ahead and notice, and I'll go back up here. Let's take a look at that. In fact, let me go ahead, and I'm going to copy that and put it on a notepad so you can see it a little bit better and understand what we did. Okay. And then okay. And then we'll hit escape there and it'll pop up here, okay? I use the equal VLOOKUP. I want to look up something vertically. I put a $ in front of F12 so that the machine knew I'm dealing just with the F column. Then I used receivables category. That was the name I defined. And then I chose that column index number 2. So we've categorized all of these. In fact, we've got one left to do here. And we can just check for their accuracy, but yeah, we're good. All right. Now, if we want to know, okay, how much is owed to us in terms of, each group, okay, we're going to use the sum if, we're going to try to use the sum if, okay, and we're going to walk through it, and sometimes it can be a little tricky, sometimes it's not. I'm going to go back over to the home, and I'm going to come back down over here, and I'm going to put the category. So I'm going to copy these cells right here. And I'm going to copy them. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to have some issue here. Okay, there's the category and the total owed. And I'm going to copy Format Painter, boom. And then I'm going to copy Format Painter. Now I'm coming down here. I'll just put, and then I'll come back here and put in a nice fill. Okay. Now I'm going to try to use the sum if function here. Okay, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to click right here in this cell, starting with current, and I'll put equal sum if. Okay, and I'm going to get the sum if. Okay, range is and we have the dialog. Range is the range of cells you want evaluated. Okay, and that's going to be the overdue category. Okay. Okay, now I think we probably want to go ahead and make those, put a $ in there. That's the overdue category. Well, and then $G, G and $. 32. Okay. And then I have a criteria, okay? And that's the first criterion that I'm going to look at. All right. And then I want to let's see, look at table the criterion. And that is the condition or criteria in the form of a number in which cells will be added, okay? So I'm click here. All right. And I'm there. Now you say, I didn't use the whole array, but that's okay. I'm put $sign here in front of the J. A $sign in front of the 4. okay, and a dollar sign. Now I'm just going to do this. Dollar sign J, dollar sign 7. Okay. And I did do something right there. J, pardon me, I want I4 to J7. My apologies, folks. I'll put a dollar sign I, dollar sign 4, then the colon, and then dollar sign J, dollar sign 7. And that's the criteria. Okay. And then I want to, on the sum range, the actual cells to sum, and I need those. The invoice amount column, and I want that. And copy those. F4. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to make them. So I'm going to go dollar sign E, dollar sign 12, colon, dollar sign E, dollar sign 32. Now let's see what we get. Well, obviously not right. Okay, well, overdue category, it should be all absolute. Okay, I want to start with that. Let's just do it again. Sometimes I have to mess with these if I don't use them very often, which this one I don't. It'll be equal. Okay. And the range is the cells you want evaluated. Okay, and these are the cells I want evaluated. All right. And that's the overdue category. Okay, then the criteria. And that's the category column. Okay. And then we're going to sum the range. And I think what I'm going to have to do is the range. Bear with me here for a second. Okay, I've got the range of cells you want evaluated. Okay. Then the criteria are the categories. So let's just do this. I think here's where this is the tree I've been barking up. I should have been barking up on all along. Okay, and then the sum range. There we go. Now, I apologize about that. Let me review, and let me take this over here and show you what we got. I apologize about that. Okay. We do the equal sum if. All right. And we're going to look at G12 to G32. Okay. And that's the categories. Okay. And we're going to evaluate them versus I13 to I16, and that's these categories right here. And then we're going to sum the figures found in E12 to E32. Okay? And we'll let you see it back up here again. And in fact, you can see the cells that are hot. These cells I12 to 6, I12 to 15 or 14, whatever that is. I13 to 16, I apologize. And E12. So let's look at a dialog box again. And the range, okay, that's the criteria, that's the range of cells you want evaluated. And we want to evaluate everything over here in column G, that overdue category. Okay, then, okay, the criteria is going to be I13 to I16. And then the sum range will be E12 to E32. So far, so good. Now, we may have to do some more relative cell work with relative cells. So let's just carry this on down and see what happens. And I think we're good. If this equals sum, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, it's something like $12,000 or something. So if I did, we're successful. Okay. Yeah, I knew how much I was supposed to have there. I think I'm missing something here. Okay. Let's look at the category. And that's, okay. That's where we're going wrong. So let's go back up here. Okay. I knew we'd have to fix something on this. And I'm going to make this criteria. All right. $I. It'd be easier to do it like this. $I, $13, then the colon. Pardon me, I. Let's just do this. And that ought to do it. Make that a capital I. Or is it J? Oh, let's try this now. And this will give us, I think we'll get us to get rolling here. Okay. And now I carry this all the way on down. I should be able to drag and drop this down. Okay. And we've got G12 to G32, E12. Now we're going to have to do this also. We're going to have to put dollar signs in front of the G. It's going to have to be absolute. So just a dollar sign in front of the G. So it stays in the column. And then over here, we'll put a dollar sign E. And see, I have to do a little bit of work here with cell referencing E32. Now, let's drag and drop this and see what we get. I'm going to wipe those out there and then start here, fresh. Okay. And this equals 11,520.60. Now I'm going to add this up because I got a problem here. Now let's just get the total and invoice. And we're going to find something. We've got a cell referencing issue of some kind going on here, I think. Yeah. So we've got some problems there. Now, let's look at this for just a minute because it helps us a little bit to troubleshoot here. The current is going to be G12. And that's so we're good there in terms of the sum if. The range is G12 to G32. And then the current, and we get 43.98. Okay, let's look at this. And then we start to slip into a problem here. We get this G13 business. Yeah, that's where we're getting the problems. So we're just going to have to go in here and play with this. And we're going to have to make that G12 still a repair work here. To G32. And then we'll make that E12 to E32. And sometimes we just run into these problems. We have to do it almost like this. Okay. Now we'll click that. All right. And then we'll come here, and here we need to do G12 to G32. And see, I'm just changing those row numbers. And we might have been able to use the name manager, but I'm not sure. And we're going to look at E12 to E32. That's why we're getting those funky looking numbers. Okay. So we get G12 to G32, E12 to E32. And here we've got G12 to G32 and E12 to E32. And then we'll come down here, and this will be G12. We had to get the row numbers. And so that's why we're getting those weird numbers, is it was changing rows on us. And I think probably what would have been a good idea, as I look back on it now, would have been to have used this designated. We could have tried using the overdue category and used it in the name function. Or made that overdue category all absolutes. And so let's see, this equals Now let's see if we're close this time. Voila. So we did a little bit of putzing around there. I apologize for that, but we did get it done. Okay, so we've used the sum if, and now we have an idea of how much people in each category owe me. Okay. Now I could have used, and I could have tried to use the overdue category, but let's go back up here and let's review real quickly what we did. Okay. And I want to start when we used the lookup table function. We used the VLOOKUP. Okay. All right, I'm going to click on that and we can see it. VLOOKUP, our value is F12. And remember, I put a $ in front of it so we'd stay in the column. Then the table array was known as the receivables category. And that was those categories over here. Well, no, it was this whole set of cells here in the one over down to the over 90 days, and then column index number 2, and then we just went from there. Okay, so that was using the VLOOKUP. Now we use the sum if equals sum if function, and the sum if, and notice what I did here. Okay, I chose the range, and that's those categories. And notice what I did. I put a $ in front of the G. Okay, and then went down the line with them. Okay, and then I put a $ in front of the column E, and I got the figure. Now I had to adjust here, okay, to make sure it stayed G12 to G32. Now you could try it if you want and make the G12 through 32 is the overdue category, and you could try to make it all absolute cells as well as the invoice amounts. But we just did some minor fixes to make sure we started at the correct row. Same story here. And we could try it with the name manager. You could do that and see if it would work. And then the same thing again here with over 90 days. And do we know our figure is correct? Yes, it is, because we did the invoice amounts down here. Your textbook talks about using customized filters and all of that, and that's nice to do, but I don't know that it's really important. But just for the sake of argument, well, let's go ahead and do this. All right, and so I'm going to take my cursor and put it over here on A11. I'm going to come all the way down here over to G32. All right. I had to. All right. And I'm going to come over here to the filter and sort. I'm going to put filter. And you see the little filter things go hot. And I'm going to come in here and look at days outstanding. Okay. And I only want those that are more than 90. Now I could go in here and make a conditional statement and get them. And I could get the total. Okay. And then I can take that data and I'm going to copy it. And I can put that over there in a range. I'll put copy. Now they have a range for me to put some things down here. Okay. And I'm just going to do this. And there it is. That's everybody I'm over 90. And I can repeat the process with everybody who is, I'll go to the next category. It's pretty simple. I'm going to select all. I should get everybody there. I'm going to clear the sort. Pardon me, the filter. Now I'm going to come back over here and do the filter again. Now notice I have everybody owes me 120 for 120 days. All right. You say, would it be possible to use a pivot table to do this? Now you're thinking. But we're going to do this special filter. Just doing a little cutting and pasting. And I'm going to do, put on the filter. And this time I'm going to get everybody that's, I've got everybody's over 90 days. So I want, my problem people are going to be people who are in 61. So I'm going to deselect, I'm going to click 61 to 90 days. Okay. And I'll just copy all that. Okay. That's all I'm really doing here. And I can even get the total. Now I'm probably going to come over here and color these, probably with a red. And these are people at 61 to 90, and I'm going to make these yellow. So just like just like stop sign. Okay. And then I'm going to come up here and I just click back over here and I'll get rid of the filter. And then I'm going to get people who are at 31 to 60 days. So I'm going to do the filter again. Okay. And I'm going to apply the filter. Okay. Oh, I've got the filter applied. Excuse me. All right. I'm going to have to over to category. I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to get people 31 to 60 days. All right. And I'm going to copy them. I'll put them down here. Now, I think what I may do is this. I'm going to change this font for just a minute. Oh, I think that really, really bad. And for the letters, I'm going to come over here and use white letters. Okay. And then for everybody who's 61 to 90 days, I'm going to use a red fill, but not as extreme. And then I'm going to use white letters. No, I'll just use the black letters. But I want that light red fill. And here, to show caution, okay, and I'm going to make those red letters. Okay, and that just adds, that just divides it all out for me, and it tells me exactly who owes me. And I can run the total down here too. The auto sum. And here's what they owe me there. Here's what these people owe me. And I think what I'll do is on this, what they owe me, I'm going to put a nice thick border. A nice thick border here. I'm going to click copy, format painter, do that one. And then I'm going to put a nice thick border. And I'm going to make sure I'm good. Now, this amount's going to differ. So I'm going to put equal, pardon me. I'm going to put equal, pardon me, E56 E63 E73. I'm just going to do this. And then I'll bulb that up. And this is what everybody, and they say, whoa, wait a minute, this is not the same as up here. Okay? And that's correct. Okay? So we used the sum if. Now, I'm gonna do something here, and I'm gonna come over here and get rid of the filter, and everything appears. But we now have these all nicely done. I'm gonna make that about a. I'm gonna go beyond a 12. It's gonna stop me at 12, isn't it? Okay. I'm gonna put some fill in it. There we go. And I'm gonna make those letters white. The angry orange fill, and then I want the letters white. Or I could make the, how could I make those letters? Okay, so I've got $7,822 of the full 1220 owed to me. Okay, and I've got this yellowed out, which says, you're kind of bumping upon it because they're at 31 to 60 days. All right, oh, now we're in danger zone. Follow me? Now, what this means is that we have 4,000 or 5,000, close to $5,000 or somewhere, about $4,000 that's not, in bad shape. And so I can use the filter again, and I'm going to do that. And I really don't have to do that, but we can check down here for 4173. That's 31 to 60 days. 10, 14, 66 is over 90. That's right. So you could see. I think this right here, this is nice because it gives you detailed information, okay, on who these people are. And you'll notice, see, we've used data, we've used Excel here, kind of like a database, okay, but also we've used it, to do computation. Now, I apologize about all the rigmarole I put you through with those, but it's just one of those things. Yeah. And we'll make that 12 as well. And if these two match, we're in good shape. In fact, just to emphasize that, I'm going to take that up and make it a 12. I'll make that a 12. And we'll make that a 12. Okay, so that's what the authors are talking about, doing a special filter and then paste. Okay, now we want to go ahead and finish this off. So we've got all of our accounts out here. All right, and I've got that knocked out. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put a nice, blue ribbon over it. Okay, same thing down here. So we have the totals. And then I'm going to put a border in it. All borders. And there we be. So we've worked using the VLOOKUP. And there's also a function in Excel called the HLOOKUP. Okay. And just to review, we also talked about receivables and how much they cost us. And how they're become an urgent issue, because the older they are, the less easy it is to collect them. Okay, and they really do hit us from both sides, and they kill us in terms of profits. Plus, now we have to spend our time trying to collect money from people. Okay, now let's look at that. We'll do the VLOOKUP. And here we have to look at the value, and then the table array, and then the column index number. Okay. And so that's a database tool. Here we used another database tool and computational tool. We used the SUMIF. And I apologize again about, having to torque around with these a little bit. The range and the criteria. And that's the criteria. Is it says, okay, if whatever's in that range matches this, add it in, and then the sum range of the values. Okay, and then we got our total, so we knew how much everybody owed us. And then we came down here and we said, okay, here's everybody who's over 90. Here's everybody who's 61 to 90, and here's everybody who's at 31 to 60. So I tried to convey the impression of, all right, this is not good at all. Okay, but yeah, but you can see up here. Now, if I want to, I can also do this. On the total owed, I could come in and apply conditional formatting. Okay. But I'm probably not going to, because I have a nice looking set of tables there. So we've done the sum. We learned about receivables. We've and their implications, especially again when we looked at that $2,500 in receivables. if you're making a 3% profit, means you have to sell an additional $83,000 or $85,000 for sales to recapture that. Not good. And then we saw about we used the number formatting where we took a date, okay, and knowing that a date is actually a number. It's displayed here as a date like we humans like it, and then we just simply took this and we call it, and we here in D12 we called it base date, and to get base date we took the base date minus D12, and notice we did the dollar sign with the D, okay, and then we just carried it all the way down to get the days outstanding. Then we categorized the overdue, put the overdue amount, days, into categories, okay, and that's where we used the VLOOKUP, okay. Then to figure out how much each category owed us, we used the SUMIF. And then we did a specialized pasting function where we used, we put a filter on these, copied and pasted, and did a little coloration here to kind of give it a sense of urgency. Okay. And like I said, I saved this as Harmon XLS case 10. And I'm going to make sure I save it on my desktop because I've done all this work and I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to back up to the desktop and save. It says, all right, yes, I want to replace it. And then I'll close it off and I'll upload it. You'll upload it where you need to turn the work in. So that's XLS 10, and that's what you should upload. I'm going to try to upload it. Okay, let me find this here. There it is, Harmon XLS case 10. And this is Blue Sky Computer Services. Okay, and that's the file that you'll use to turn in for case 10. And that is what we're going to do here for Monday. Okay, folks, thank you so much. I know it's been a little discombobulated with the weather, and now here on a Monday when we usually meet physically, I'm going to give you a pre-recorded screencast. That's because I had to do it this morning because I have a medical appointment, and then this afternoon I get whacked out again because I've got to go observe a colleague teach. So you have this pre-recorded class session. You haven't missed anything. I think I took everybody's due dates and put them back to the 26th. Okay, so we're good to go. So I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to stop the recording.